Welcome back to Let's Clean PowerWash Simulator. I'm BurningDogFace, and we're here in the Queen's Court in Alice's Adventures, the DLC chapter. I was working on this half of the garden. If only the Cheshire Cat would let you pet him. You know, I do find myself wondering why the Cheshire Cat is being so silent when every version of the story I've ever seen has had him be quite the chatty Cathy to Alice. I mean, he's the one who famously gives the speech, "We're all mad here." This, I believe, in the context of Alice being offended that he assumed she was mad as well. "Oh, we're all mad here, friend, and if you're here, you must be mad too." Worth noting that "we're all mad here" was the marketing slogan for the first Alice game. I don't remember if I mentioned it here or not. I know I've brought the story up before. That American McGee did not want the game to be called American McGee's Alice. He doesn't like when they do that, publishers give all the focus to one particular developer. And, you know, it can really bite you in your career in the ass if that backfires. Specifically, I'm immediately thinking of John Romero's Daikatana. Like, I'm genuinely surprised in a pleasant way that that man was able to bounce back from that. But, you know, it's a team effort, because, especially by the 2000s, video games were certainly not something that 2 or 3 guys just slapped together in a month anymore. You know, you weren't getting into the multi-year development cycles that we are having now. Because, you know, games with simpler graphics were simpler to make, remember. Like, and when I say simpler, I even mean as recently as a couple of console generations ago. Like, well, Prince of Persia, for example. Famously, the Sands of Time trilogy was considered one of the high points of the PS2 GameCube era. Original Xbox. And, well, Prince of Persia: The Sands of Time came out in 2003, Prince of Persia: Warrior Within came out in 2004, and Prince of Persia: The Two Thrones came out in 2005. They were busy little bees. But as I said at the beginning of both of the sequels, because back in those days you could make a sequel in 1 year without having it turn out to be objective crap. But yes, I digress. The point is that American just wanted to call the game Alice. And possibly coming from his pedigree of working on games with short, blunt titles like Doom and Quake. I think he worked on Quake. The only one I know he worked on off the top of my head was Doom 2. I don't think he worked on the original Doom. I do know he designed one of my favorite Doom 2 levels, the one with the giant crusher. I think it was literally just called The Crusher. Where he stuck a spider mastermind under a giant compactor, and then gave the player the option of just pushing the button and running away. But over his objections, because they believed it would make the game sell better, EA insisted on marketing it under the title American McGee's Alice. In fact, I don't know if he actually gave them an ultimatum or if that was just a rumor, but you'll note that the sequel was entitled Alice Madness Returns and not, American McGee's Alice Madness Returns. And even there, if you look at the front of the box art for Alice 2, you'll see, like, at the bottom of the page, at the bottom of the image, rather, an American McGee game. And you will also notice that Alice is standing on a chessboard. And upon closer inspection, you will notice that the words "An American McGee Game" are white text that just happens to land exactly over one of the white spaces in the image. There's a thin black outline, so you can still read it. But the first bunch of times I looked at the cover of that box, I didn't even see that. And I'm fairly certain that was intentional on the part of the lead developer. Eight of Hearts. My brain just reminded me of a show I watched when I was a kid. Part live-action puppets, part cartoon. It was called Dog City, and it was very strange. It was about a comic book artist named Elliot, who, of course, was a dog. Like a humanoid dog. Where everyone is a humanoid dog or cat, apparently. I guess that's not a... Huh. Weird. And, he did a comic book about a hard-boiled canine detective who solves crimes in fictional Dog City. They do things where it's like, oh, the love interest is blatantly based on Elliot's neighbor, and, the news hound kid who helps him all the time is based on, this kid who lives in Elliot's building. And the landlord seems to have inspired the crime lord, who is one of the recurring antagonists. Although the real one isn't actually a criminal, he's just a jerk. So why the fuck am I bringing all this up? Because the weird thing about that show was that the protagonist of the comic book, represented by an animated character, was alive. In fact, he would frequently nitpick the writing as it was happening. Cause Elliot to edit his words and change what just happened. So how in the fuck was I reminded of any of that by this? Because in true noir fashion, they gave the protagonist of the comic book a pun name and called him Ace Hart. H-A-R-T. I hadn't thought about that show in years, and yet all that information came back to me all at once. I did really like that show, in fairness. I vividly remember a sight gag from that show where the kid is reading a story he wrote because he's been inspired by Elliot. And at one point he writes his protagonist, who is of course a dog or something, wanting to ask the teacher a question. He raised his hand. And then the sight gag is the character raises his arm, and there's a pink, fleshy human hand on the end of it. And you hear Elliot's voice, hand? Oh, I mean paw. And it magically turns into a regular cartoon hand with fur on it. Oh, how embarrassing. I never started my timer. Sorry about that. Also never read this out. Shout out to Elthwar. I don't think we have any examples of character cards here, but so that I can point the thing at conveniently. But shout out to Elthwar, who says, the name for the Jack card seems to originally be the Valvet card, but it was renamed to the Knave, and then finally the Jack, with the intention of meaning a generic man. That's very interesting to me, guys. I always assumed the Jack was the prince, since he was dressed just as nicely as the other characters in the deck. Interestingly, when looking this up, I learned that there used to be a Knight card, but it disappeared in non-tarot decks, which I think would have been a more reasonable choice for a face card. Actually, yeah. I feel like a Knight makes more sense at a King and Queen than just some guy. On the subject of my father's why is blue answer, Justin Jones, shout out, says, another potential answer to a question for why something is the way it is to answer with why not. You're damn right that would be an annoying answer, but I never said it wouldn't be. I'm pretty sure Dad made use of that, too. It's like when someone asks me for solutions for a problem, Justin continues. When I'm feeling snarky, I give nonsensical options, and when they object, I simply point out that I did give an option, even if it isn't a good option. I enjoy that quite a lot. Any other things I wanted to read out? I think I'm good. For the moment, anyway. Is that not... No, it's not dirt. How strange. Well, if not all the discolored bits are dirt, then... Bye, Cheshire. It's strange, I didn't move. I wonder if the spray got too close. I was being real careful about that. I'm gonna miss that guy. Probably never making another Alice game after all. There were so many plans once upon a time. They were talking, or, after Alice 1, they were talking about, oh, instead of doing a proper sequel, we'll do a spiritual sequel. American McGee's Oz, where you play as Dorothy and you're constantly accompanied by Toto. Fucking, taking the fight to the winged monkeys. Nothing ever came of that aside from some initial screenshots that, if I remember correctly, it was like, oh, it's vaguely the Emerald City in the Unreal 1 engine, because everything is green. Later on, there was a time when he was talking about revisiting that idea. The game concept he called Oz Zombie. Except there was some weird stuff about that. He wasn't actually talking about zombies, but like something about the tendency of people to follow the crowd. That's the one that got me the achievement last time. Oh, it's a caterpillar design. I see. Weird. Maybe he sold them that. I mean, we don't know what that caterpillar looked like before he was a butterfly. Oh, hey, this one really is the Ace of Hearts. It felt a lot faster than usual. At one point they tried doing they tried making a Diablo-style game based on Little Red Riding Hood. Acanero, Demon Hunter. Where they mixed it up with a strangely similar Japanese myth. I remember you could, remember there were 3 classes that rather obliquely represented Little Red Riding Hood, the Woodsman. Little Red Riding Hood, the character who uses a fucking katana. The Woodsman, the character who uses an axe. And Grandma, the character who uses a sledgehammer. You can guess which one I picked. Go. Croquet starting heart cleaned off, that's good. Garden floor done. Aha! Good! Oh no, I need that part too. It is really bizarre, isn't it? How much simpler it would have been if they just used aces and bent them the other way. Oh. There you go. Sick. Did I get all of the croquet cards? Amazing. I like to imagine that when the Cheshire Cat leaves, he just continues observing Dr. PowerWash from a distance. Or, you know, invisibly. There's the timer. Sweet! Oh, it's fading. It's just water. Well, it may have cost us the presence of the Cheshire Cat. No, he doesn't appear to have appeared in the roof of the castle. But we did get this side of the garden nice and tidied at last. That had been itching at me, but I did want to preserve that for as long as possible. Not bad at all, me. But there's still a ways to go. So, I'm BurningDogFace, and I will see you on the next episode of Let's Clean PowerWash Simulator when we get started up here in seriousness. I love these giant footprints. And get cleaning on the stage. I guess we'll take care of that last, and then we'll finish things up with the statue of the Queen. I wonder, heck, even in the statue, she looks super pissed. Till next time, have yourselves a great day, Burning Dog fans. Later!